Hi. Now, I've had a number of people ask me about painting skies. It seems to cause a lot of problems. Frankly, you shouldn't paint a sky any different to the way you paint anything else. I think it's probably the large area that intimidates beginners to begin with. You certainly don't need to develop any fancy techniques, wetting the paper, using a sponge, any wax or cling film pressed against it, or putting paint on and taking it off with a tissue. I think you should just use your brush. Now, the other complication that people experience with skies is what blues and yellows and reds to use. So I'm going to do two short demonstrations and use only two colours, one blue and one red. Once you've practiced that technique, or approach rather than technique, then you can add another colour like yellow, and I think that can then be widened, and you can try painting skies with a representative of or one representative of each of the primaries, a blue, a red and a yellow, and long before you start dipping and dabbing into lots of different colours. So let's make a start. Now, the two colours I'm going to use for this sky, and a grey overcast sky, are cobalt blue and light red. They're both Winsor & Newton Professional Artist Watercolour. For some reason, you can buy cobalt blue in the large tubes, 37mm, but light red can't be that popular for some reason, and the largest tube you can get is 14mm. So I'm going to restrict myself just to these two colours. Exploit what they'll do, but also accept their limitations. Now we'll start off with light red and cobalt. Load the brush up. Now I start in the top left-hand corner because I'm right-handed. Keep the brush on the paper for as long as you can. Now, if I want a lighter area, just light light red with plenty of water. Just want it to join on a little bit, but also leave some white paper round the peripheries of any cloud shapes. Just so that it joins on. And this is just light red with a tiny bit of cobalt. Cobalt and light red. I mix the colours up as I go along. That enables me to keep sort of track of the amount of moisture there is on the brush. Get the underneath of that cloud and that one there. I'll just take that little bit off there. Back to the light red. Just join it on there, smaller cloud as we come down to the horizon or the skyline, and the clouds will get smaller for perspective. Don't underestimate the amount of drawing there is in skies. It's no good just putting on a lot of vague blobs of different blues and greys on wet paper with all soft edges, in the hope that that's going to look like a proper sky. A little bit of light red there, a little bit more red with that. Perhaps it's overdone the red, so I'll just go back and add a little bit more blue just to reduce the heat in that. Just dry brush that. Then light red, lots of water, of course. Although I say we're only using 3 colours, of course we've got the additional tones or the potential to get a lot of different colours and tones through use of the water. So the clouds are getting smaller, and then we'll go cobalt, light red, stiffer mixture, not too stiff because we're getting low down, so put a little bit of bluey grey underneath these cloud shapes. So you get a sort of sense of a dome. Let's have that come across there. Just soften some of the moist, the damp areas, not the wet areas, the damp areas, with a brush which is not as wet as what's on the paper, otherwise you're adding water and you'll get a bleed back. I'm aiming to get an impression of an English grey, overcast, cloudy sky, and reveal that it's also made of watercolour. And once you've done that sort of exercise, go by what you see outside, of course, then you can add perhaps raw sienna, so that you've got one each of the 3 primaries, cobalt, light red and raw sienna. Raw sienna will just give you just that little bit more scope to get interesting and softer sort of milky greys. And then progress from using cobalt, perhaps try ultramarine, cadmium red and cadmium yellow as one each of your primaries. Concentrate on limiting the colours to one representative of each of the 3 primaries before you then get a little bit more adventurous. Certainly once you're confident with those colours, then you can then gradually increase them. But just restricting the colours takes away the anxiety of which blue do I use and which reddy orange do I use. Now in the second little video we'll have a go at a sunnier sky, but still using just cobalt, blue and light red. And I hope that's been useful. Thanks for watching.